Well, folks, Dominic Thiem has made some headlines again this week, not for his tennis play, but for his remarks about the gifting of money from top players on the ATP to lower players. That's been proposed by different people like Novak Djokovic on the Players Council. He absolutely roasted that idea and said, why should I give money to lower ranked players who don't work as hard? Hot take, Dominic Thiem. Wow, countercultural. But does he have a point? We're going to look into that on this episode of The Slice and bring you up to date with all the hot gossip surrounding the financial happenings of the World Tour right now in tennis. So that's what's going down on this episode of The Slice. We're glad you're here.
So I don't have many bagels.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and make sure you like this video because it helps us out and helps to get this message to more tennis fans. And also support our sponsor, Courtside Sports. If you didn't know, you can use the code SLICE10 on their website to get all of your tennis gear, and a little bit of each purchase helps us out. So thank you for supporting us through that. Their website's amazing. Beckett actually works there, so make sure you head to their website, link below. But what happened with Dominic Thiem this week? So maybe let's back it up a little step. What's been proposed by different people, starting with Novak Djokovic on the Players Council, and a lot of other support from, Patrick Mouratoglou, from, Mouratoglou, Serena Williams' coach, and even Stefanos Tsitsipas, his Padawan. We're talking about giving money, the top players in the world, to give it to lower ranked players outside of the top, I think 150 down to 700 or something like that. So the top guys would give up to 30,000 each, and then the lower guys near the 100 would give about 5,000 each into a pool with some money from the different tournaments like the Grand Slams, rounding about $6 million to get dispersed to help players out during this time of obvious need during the pandemic. So super nice gesture from these players who want it. But as with anything, not everyone agrees on this and that this is the best way to go forward. I've talked some coaches that I talked to last week, especially Temba McCurdy, friend of the show, said he said, make no mistake, this is a handout, and a lot of players might not want it because it'll be weird. You get a handout from a guy and then you play him in a few months when the tour resumes. It's a bit weird. So we'll get to that. But Dominic Thiem has a problem with it, and to an Austrian magazine, Krone, he said this, and quote, "None of the players are starving. We all had to fight our way up the rankings. We all meaning the top players." So he says, first, none of the players are starving. And you know what? He's probably right. None of the players are starving. If you're in a situation like me, I lost my job because of this. We all got laid off, my full-time job. And, we're not starving. We're hunkering down. Our expenses are lower, especially the players on tour. Their expenses are lower right now. They're not flying around the world. So you should be able to just hunker down. And if you've made any amount of money on it, or you got parents you can live at, we're not dying here. He also said, I've seen players on the ITF tour who don't 100% commit to the sport. Many are quite unprofessional. I don't see why I should give them money. Woo! So, you know what? Everyone's so supportive on social media. And when someone says a nice thing like, hey, we should give them money like Djokovic did, or these other guys, everyone seems to be behind it. At least the people who are outspoken. But it's interesting to hear Dominic Thiem being outspoken in the negative. And now a lot of people are probably like, oh, what a jerk Dominic Thiem is. You know what? We knew it. They'll say this, that. It doesn't sound like the nicest thing, but is there any truth in it? And I think there definitely is. So is there any truth that not every player on the ITF commits 100%? Totally. If you don't think that, you just haven't been around it at all. In every sport, there's people who haven't quite made it, who don't work as hard. Typically, the people who have made it, like Dominic Thiem, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, have worked as hard or harder than anyone on the tour. They also have the skills and, tools to back it up. And I'm not saying that all players on the lower ranks of the ATP or the Challenger Tour don't work hard. That's not what I'm saying at all. Most of them work unbelievably hard, just as hard maybe as the top players. So then they're left with less money. So I have a solution for that, which you're going to hear. But what Dominic Thiem said is that some of them don't work hard. Why should I give them money? It's a great point. If you're touring around the world on the Challenger Tour or the Futures Tour, and you're having beers during the week, which I know a lot of players do, they have a good time. I'm not against that. You have a good time. Whatever, you have beers on the weekend before a tournament, whatever. That is not committing 100%. And now you might look at a guy like Nick Kyrgios or other players on the tour who definitely don't give necessarily 100% effort, and he would admit that. And there's stories of Marat Safin getting absolutely blasted the night before matches and then winning them. That's an exception. You can do that if you're top 10 in the world, if you're top 50 in the world, then you've made all the money you're going to need. So, but if you're not there, then and you're not taking 100%, I see Dominic Thiem's point for him not wanting to give out money to people he doesn't think work as hard as he does. Because make no mistake, I don't think there's anybody on tour who works harder than Dominic Thiem in his preparation and all that. And he hasn't even made it yet. He hasn't even won a slam. So I see where Dominic Thiem's coming from, and I also feel bad for the players who are down the road. What's my take? Yeah, I don't think really that they should give out this money. I think it's a nice gesture during this time. But I think what players would rather have, which I think John Millman, from the comments I've seen him talk about, would rather have, is the prize money be dispersed down the tree. In saying that the players shouldn't get gifted money, I'm not saying that the system isn't broken. I think that it is absolutely crazy that you could say be the 120th ranked tennis player in the world and be struggling with your finances. If that was any other profession in the world, the 120th best person in the world would be unbelievably rich. If you were the 120th best lawyer in the entire planet, you would be unbelievably wealthy. You get paid for your services because of how much better you are than everyone else. But tennis players in the top 100, 200, 300 can't really make it by. And that is mostly because the prize money is all at the top. The prize money keeps going up in the Grand Slams. So, you win, a few years ago, you won $2 million to win the US Open. Now it's like 3.5. It'll keep rising. That should all be lowered from the top. It's not the money that's causing people to work for those slam titles. It's something else, which it should be for everyone on tour, whether that's futures, juniors, challengers. They should put the money down, though, into the prize, disperse it so that if you make the third round of a future, you get more than like $200 because, you got to fly to the future. You got to stay at your hotel. You got to eat, you guys all know, or you can imagine the struggle. Winning a challenger should set you up for a couple tournaments. There should be more money available for people to fight for at the lower ranks. But with Dominic Thiem saying, not just given to them. So I get that point. I'd be much more behind the idea of dispersing money down the tree so that at the futures level, if you make the third round, which is incredibly hard, especially when you start, you should get some money. You should maybe $1,000, take a little bit of a profit from a tournament, if that would even be any. And then challengers, it should be more because that is where this all gets fueled from. And with Dominic Thiem, the counterpoint to him is saying we all had to work our way up. Yeah, it's like true, but I'm sure Dominic Thiem, like a lot of other top players, have had federation funding to get through those futures. So they're not making any money in the futures or even the lower challengers if they're not winning them, but they're still getting supported by the federations to work through there. If you're not a federation player, how do you support yourself? You have to have parents' money, something else, take time off the tour to go work. That's what I've heard from other people. So it's a very complex, dysfunctional system we have right now with the money in the prize pots. But it needs to come down and be diversified. So players who are 600 in the world who get to a quarterfinal of the futures can make some money. Or especially if they get to a challenger and they make it to the final, they should, be able to go on tour full time or whatever. Money needs to come down. I don't think it should be gifted. Is Dominic Thiem, is he the bad boy of tennis now? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this. Make sure you stay tuned. We got more content coming up for you, especially on the Slice Instagram. Also on our website, theslicetennis.com. Head there. You got the link to Courtside on there. You can get shirts shipped to you for free now. Never a better time to get your Slice merch. And thank you guys for supporting the Slice. We are all together in this pandemic. We can't wait till tennis comes back. So let's just stay tuned, stay together, and keep having fun.